because they're able to do so. But people that are hardcore fans or that see us and stuff like that will still throw us $5 or $10 because they want to help us out.
They go on our website and say, I want to buy your records. They, and they can do that, and we send it to them.
Plus, our business model isn't the, we're not a fast food restaurant. We're a fucking refined steakhouse. You don't come to us because you need a burger real quick. You come to us because you want to be a fan of us and you want to see everything that we produce, everything that we do. You may like us because of the body of work that we put out, not because we've got some hit single that is on MTV that no longer exists.
But if you want a burger, we're on iTunes. We recorded that in our house, and
how many songs?
How many is it?
It's 11 songs.
How do you whittle down what you want to put on? Really want it as representation?
We cut demos and cut tracks, and when it gets down to brass tacks at the end with the lyrics and this, that, and the other, we decide which ones are shit and which ones are not. Cut
is
them
there
off.
a theme that runs through this recording?
There's a theme that,
or is there a thread that runs between the songs and pulls it all together?
Yeah, well, there is. The whole thing, usually, most of our songs are written from the perspective of our life or our lifestyle or, relationships or whatever else it is that's influencing us. But bottom line is at the end of the day, after we cut these demos, if it's not catching us, then it doesn't make the cut. We cut like 15 songs, we ended up keeping 11 because we weren't feeling it for the ones that we didn't like. So it's as simple as that. And that's the beauty of it, because once again, going back to that whole DIY ethos, we don't give a shit. We put out, our last record was stylistically completely different, but what we're doing now is what we want to do. And because we don't have to answer to anybody, and we're not trying to get anything except for people to dig us that dig us, we can do anything we want. We could go from being, a real rocking band to a band that plays songs of heartfelt sentiment. To us, when you got nothing to lose. When you can't get anyone to buy shit anyway, then it doesn't make a difference which way you turn, because it's all positive. And some people, there are times that we've taken a real artistic stance and tried to do something and it get completely lost on somebody, and then times that we've done something that's so basic that we think is frivolous and people think it's the greatest shit in the world. Yeah. We've had more licensing off of stuff we recorded like that as opposed to things that we deeply thought were going to be the best thing that we ever wrote.
Slow down when you get excited, the soul will let you know that you got to get your...
Well, number one is that there's never the despair of the bullshit theory of making it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's the holy grail of a band that gets together.
Making it, whatever the fuck that means. We sell thousands of fucking records. We've fucking won tons of awards. People know who the fuck we are all over the fucking place for whatever that's worth.
Played in lots of bands.
So who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? We'll just produce music until we're done producing music. And the people that love us love that, and if they don't love it, then they can go fucking buy a Lady Gaga record or whatever the fuck they're into. Or whatever the fuck they're being sold.
Vision, a holy vision is our only provision. Well, fall down when you get ignited, 'cause the soul...
We make money is live stuff. And the repercussions of the live performance.
If somebody's like, I want to buy your song to use in a commercial or a movie, that makes money.
But also, too, with the freedom of the internet and all the things we're talking about as far as people being able to do things digitally, video medium, homemade video medium, and things like that are also, going through the fucking roof as far as little bands are concerned. We produced a HD video for our last single, and we're being shown on HDNet, like all over the country. A band being shown in front of millions of people that happen to have that television, channel. That would never have happened.
Is this Cuban's HDNet?
Yeah. So we've had success as far as that's concerned. So talk about evening the playing field. When the hell would that have been about in the past? The thing is that the more the major entities lose money and the more they lose their stranglehold, the more bastards like us are able to get in there and get a little piece of the pie.
Doesn't mean a thing. Doesn't mean a goddamn thing. That's the spirit.
Been together.
5 years.
Hey, is it still the original members?
Her and I have been all the way through. Most of the people have been in the band in one way or another.
The keyboard player was the original drummer, and he worked with us on
The bass player is my brother. He's written on everything, but he has only appeared on like 2 of the records. But it's essentially the same group of characters. But Kim and I are the constants from the start. Fact that when we first started off, we still had ideas of making it, and it wasn't because of failure that we turned away from it, but because of the level of success we were able to reap by just doing what we did and doing it the best we possibly could. So the first record, the motivations were to come out and like blow everybody away and make something that was stylistically coherent. In other words, can be sold as like a commodity. Because the other problem with the modern music scene is the subgenres. Kids that like rock and roll in the 50s like rock and roll as a whole. Kids that like rock and roll in the 2000s may only be into garage rock or grunge rock or whatever else are the subgenres. But now that we've seen that we just need to produce work and make ourselves happy, our records no longer have that kind of coherent, cohesive format. They can be anything they want. She comes up with a fucking reggae tune tomorrow that I like, we're gonna cut it. It doesn't matter anymore. All that shit's out the window. So that's been helpful.
Are you excited to be a musician today?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's the best time in the entire world to be a musician. The level of success that we've been able to reap with the amount of legitimate work that we've done would have never happened in the past. When everyone else was holding on to that, you've got to make it. You've got to get signed by that major label. I mean, we're talking about somebody here that was signed Polygram for $1.6 million and never saw an album come out of it because that machine is fucking broken. And now we've played more gigs and put out more recordings than the stranglehold of a major label was ever allowed to allow her to do. And that's where somebody like Liz Phair sees that, and does the same thing. She doesn't have to be held back in any way whatsoever. None of us do.
Doesn't mean nothing.
It was actually a boutique label, a Polygram called Atlas Records. I got signed.
What was the name of the band?
Five Deluxe. We were out of Dallas and moved out to LA and did that.
Was this during the Deep Ellum craze of when
it really was
Bohemians and stuff like that?
mid-90s, and we moved out there, and then
You moved to LA.
Yeah, and
Were you part of that situation?
and recorded a record.
They gave you an advance of $6 million fucking dollars?
No.
1.6 million doesn't have any. Well, no,
They
I
gave
was
you
on
1.6 advance.
No, those numbers are like.
That's what they have. That's what they call it.
Or
A
they loan you,
7-year
let me put
budget.
it
A
that way.
7-year budget.
They give them about $100,000, but they tell them that over the time period of the label release it'll be $1.6 million. But the problem is that they sign a bunch of bands to be dropped, so they waste people's time. What she did, oh my God, I'm telling you a story.
Well, the record industry was actually folding in at that
What
time.
years were we talking about here?
Well, that was in '95, and then and we were dropped by '98, I think.
So you spent 3 years. Did you put out an album?
Made a record. It was on its way to being mastered, and we were dropped. And Atlas was also folded in under Polygram. They dropped the whole boutique and the label, and that the guy that ran that had been the president of Polydor over in England, and they'd asked him what he wanted to come over to LA, and that's what he did, was have that boutique label. He's now back working for whatever that got bought into. Dick Gatfield is very, famous. He's still working. Most everybody else is probably, I don't know. I mean, it was just an interesting thing.